Let me ask you a raw question. How many ideas have you buried? How many dreams have you locked away behind? I'll do it tomorrow. How many mornings did you wake up saying, today's the day, only to go to sleep with that same guilt soaking into your pillow? You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just stuck in a war between who you are and who you were called to become. And if you don't learn how to force yourself to move, you'll live your whole life rehearsing potential, but never performing purpose. Motivation feels good. It hits you like a wave, gets your heart racing, your mind dreaming, and your hope rising. But the problem is, it doesn't stay. It's like a spark that lights a fire, but fades before the wood catches. You've had moments where motivation told you, let's change everything. And for a day, maybe a week you did. But then came fatiguing doubt. Then came the return of comfort. And suddenly, motivation went silent. That's where most people stop. They wait for another wave, another burst of energy, another reason to begin again. But the winners, the people who make it to the other side, they don't rely on feelings. They don't depend on good weather or perfect timing. They've learned a higher language of discipline. Discipline is louder than motivation because it keeps talking when motivation shuts up. It's the voice that tells you, get up when your body says, sleep in. It's the grip that holds the wheel steady when emotions are trying to drive you off course. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need inspiration. It just shows up because discipline isn't about hype. It's about habit. It's what you build when no one's watching. It's what you do when no one claps. And over time, it becomes who you are. You no longer act out of a moment. You move from identity. You don't need motivation to work when working is part of your DNA. That's the difference between those who start and those who finish. Between those who talk and those who execute. Discipline doesn't care if it's raining. It doesn't check how you feel. It's not waiting for excitement. It's forged in early mornings, long nights, setbacks, and silence. It's strengthened every time you do what's required, even when it's uncomfortable. And the beauty, the more you flex that discipline muscle, the easier it becomes to take action without thinking. You remove the debate. You eliminate the option to quit. You get in motion because that's what you do. Motivation will visit shore. But discipline will live with you. It will become your anchor and your power and your advantage. Comfort is the silent killer of greatness. It whispers to you, you're fine where you are. Even when your soul is screaming for more, it lulls you into routines, patterns, and habits that feel safe. But deep down, you know they're slowly draining your potential. Growth and comfort cannot live in the same space. If you're serious about transformation, you must be willing to betray your comfort zone. People don't stuck because they lack talent. They stay stuck because they refuse to leave what's familiar, the job that pays just enough to keep you quiet, the relationship that numbs you but doesn't grow you, the mindset that tells you it's too late, too risky, too hard. Comfort convinces you that safety is more valuable than significance, but that's a lie. The longer you stay comfortable, the more numb you become to purpose. Comfort zones are dangerous because they don't feel like prisons. They feel like protection. But the bars are built with fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of change. So you settle, you shrink, you convince yourself that maybe good enough is your ceiling. But deep down, you were never meant to survive. You were designed to build, to stretch, to fight for the next level. If it doesn't challenge you, it can't change you. That's the truth. You won't become stronger avoiding resistance. You won't learn courage by staying safe. The breakthrough lies on the other side of discomfort. It's in the gym when your muscles burn. It's in the hard conversation you keep avoiding. It's in the first steps of a dream that terrifies you. The discomfort you feel when stepping into the unknown is the indicator that you're heading in the right direction. It means your old self is being challenged. Your limits are being redefined. And every time you choose the uncomfortable path, every time you step into fear, uncertainty, pressure, you gain a piece of yourself you didn't have before. No one grows by accident. It's always the result of intentional discomfort. So if you want to rise, you must disrupt your patterns, break your routines, let go of what feels easy, destroy the comfort zone, and step into the stretch where greatness is built. Procrastination doesn't always come from laziness. It often comes from confusion. You don't take action not because you're unmotivated, because you're unclear. You don't move forward because your mind is tangled in uncertainty. When your goals are vague, your steps become invisible, and when you don't know where to start, you convince yourself to wait. That's how procrastination wins, through the fog of confusion. Clarity is the antidote. It slices through hesitation like a blade. It removes the mental weight of I don't know what to do. The more specific your target, the faster you can lock in. You stop overthinking and you start executing. You stop analyzing every possibility and you start moving in the direction that matters. The truth is, your brain craves direction. It needs structure. It needs boundaries. Without it loops, it questions, it doubts. Think about how often you've sat in front of a goal and thought, I'll start tomorrow. Not because you didn't want to do it, but because you hadn't defined what to do or how to do it. You had a dream, but not a map. You had desire, but no direction. And without that clarity, your mind chooses the easier path to lay. But when you clarify the mission, when you break it down into exact, measurable, visible steps, you remove the guesswork. You stop trying to tackle the whole mountain at once. You stop saying, I have to write a book. And you start saying, I'll write 200 words today. You stop saying, I need to get in shape. And you start saying, I'm going to the gym at 6 p.m. for 30 minutes. Clarity transforms intention into action. The clearer the vision, the less room procrastination has to breathe. When you wake up knowing exactly what needs to be done, the excuses lose their power. You don't give yourself permission to stall because your next move is undeniable. There's no room for debate, just discipline. So the next time you catch yourself waiting, stalling, or delaying, don't just push harder. Don't just hype yourself up. Get clear. Define the outcome. Break it down. Map it out. Give your brain a clear path and you'll find your body ready to follow. Clarity doesn't just inspire movement, it demands it. Pain is not the enemy. It's the signal. It's the pressure point that wakes something up inside of you that comfort never could. Pain has a way of forcing you to confront what you've been avoiding. It exposes what's broken, what's misaligned, and what no longer fits where you're going. You don't change when things are easy. You change when the discomfort becomes unbearable. Pain introduces you to urgency. People don't usually grow because they feel good. They grow because they get fed up with where they are. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the failure, the disappointment, that's what cracks the shell open. That's what pulls potential out of hiding. Without pain, you would stay asleep. But pain grabs you by the collar and shouts, wake up. You were made for more than this. Think about the most defining moments in your life. They didn't come wrapped in comfort. They came through struggle, through sleepless nights, through gut-wrenching decisions, through moments that brought you to your knees. But somehow, in the breaking, something stronger was built. Pain pushed you past your limits and introduced you to your true capacity. See, comfort might make you feel good, but pain makes you move. It stirs your hunger. It fuels your fire. It gives you a reason to stop tolerating average. Some of your greatest work will come from your deepest wounds. Because when your heart is hurting, your excuses start dying. When it hurts enough, you stop negotiating with fear. You stop playing small. You stop caring about opinions that don't matter. Pain is a mirror. It shows you the truth. And sometimes that truth hurts, but it also liberates. Because once you've tasted the sting of regret, the ache of mediocrity, or the shame of settling, you'll never want to go back. You'll do whatever it takes to move forward, not because it's easy, but because you've already survived worse. So don't waste your pain, don't numb it, don't run from it, use it, let it remind you what's at stake, let it push you harder than motivation ever could. Pain, when channeled, becomes power, it becomes focus, it becomes clarity, and it becomes the fuel that breaks the chains you were too comfortable to fight before. Everyone talks about the big leap, the overnight success, the dramatic breakthrough. But what they don't tell you is this: momentum doesn't start with a miracle. It starts with a small win. The most powerful shift in your life doesn't begin with a grand event. It begins with a simple decision, a small step, repeated with consistency. That's the secret weapon most people overlook. They keep waiting for the huge opportunity while ignoring the tiny victories that are right in front of them. Small wins matter because they build confidence. Every time you complete a task, however minor, you're telling your mind, I follow through. I finish what I start. That repetition forms identity, and identity is what drives behavior. You don't need to conquer the entire mountain today. You just need to take the next step without quitting. When the goal feels too big, it overwhelms. But when you break it down, one page, one rep, one call, one choice, it becomes manageable. That's how you trick your mind into moving. That's how you fight resistance. Your brain loves evidence. And when you stack up those tiny wins, your brain starts to believe, making progress. I'm capable. I'm in motion. This momentum is not magic, it's math. Win plus win plus win equals a shift in energy. It's like pushing a car. At first, it takes all your strength just to get it rolling. But once it moves, Every push becomes easier. That's what small wins do. They move the heavy weight of inaction. They get your system moving. They build rhythm, they build routine, and eventually they build results. Most people lose momentum not because they're incapable, but because they're impatient. They want transformation without repetition. They quit when it still feels slow. But those who understand the power of small wins, they stay in the fight. They celebrate progress even when no one else notices. They know that the first 10 steps don't have to be flashy. They just have to be forward. If you can win the morning, you can win the day. If you can win the day, you can win the week. And once you start winning weeks, you're building a life. It all starts with one small win and the courage to do it again tomorrow. There's a power in public commitment that most people never tap into. The moment you say it out loud, the moment you draw that line in the sand, everything changes. Not because the world suddenly supports you, but because you've now created pressure, and pressure, when used correctly, becomes purpose. It's easy to dream in silence. It's easy to plan in the shadows. But if you want to shift from potential to performance, you have to commit out loud. When you say it, when you announce it, I'm doing this, I'm building this, I'm changing this. You create accountability, not just with others, but with yourself. You've now made your intention real, and real intentions are harder to abandon. You can't hide behind fear when the world is watching. You've put your name on it. You've made the move. And that move will either haunt you or honor you. But here's where most people fail. They shout the goal, then keep shouting. They perform for likes. They post for attention. But they forget that real progress happens in the dark. That's where the grind lives. That's where the habits are forged. The loud commitment gets you in the game. But the silent work is what gets you to the finish line. You don't need to update everyone. You don't need applause for every step. Once you've spoken your vision, let your actions echo it. Let your consistency scream louder than your posts. Adapt behind the scenes. Refine when no one's looking. Make the adjustments privately without announcing every twist and turn. Because the world doesn't need to see your process. They need to see your results. They don't need to know how many times you failed, how often you restarted, or how ugly the middle got. What they will remember is that you said you'd do it and you did. That's the kind of credibility no quote or motivational speech can buy. Commit loudly. Let them know what you're about to do. Put the weight of accountability on your shoulders. Then disappear. Get quiet. Get focused. Adapt without asking for approval. And when the time comes, let your results walk back in the room and speak for themselves. So here it is, raw and real. You will never feel fully ready. You will never have the perfect plan, the ideal timing, or all the answers lined up in a neat little row. But you don't need perfect. You need movement. You don't need more motivation. You need to develop discipline. And you don't need a dramatic breakthrough. You need to start with one small win right now. You were not created to stay stuck. You were not designed to live on repeat, trapped in the same cycles of fear, delay, and doubt. The life you're craving, the future you feel deep in your bones, is on the other side of one decision to stop waiting and start acting. Force yourself to take action. Step out of comfort. Get crystal clear on what matters. Let pain push you. Let small wins build you. Commit with your chest and go build in silence. Because greatness doesn't belong to those who dream the most. It belongs to those who move the fastest when it matters the most. And the ones who win, they don't wait for the perfect moment. They make it. This is your moment. Don't just hear it move.